Streaming School? Hello, well, thank you very much for coming back to another session of Streaming School. I am joined by a home learner who is not doing her home learning right now, and she will be going back to it sooner rather than later. Or do you want to watch GCSE Science with Uncle Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. All right, Mike, we've got one doubly live viewer watching you, and I don't know why it's doubly live, actually, Mike. I was just trying to up the ante. How are you, buddy?
Yeah, everything's good. Everything's good. So I'll know it's a success if they understand at the end of this lesson.
Yeah, Layla's going to be like, why is he talking so fast? Why is he drawing little pictures? Why does it not look anything like what it's supposed to be in the science textbooks? But Mike, thank you so much for joining us again, buddy. Hey, Nish.
Hey, you okay?
It's been a whole 12 minutes since I've seen you last.
Such a long time.
Such a long time. This little monster's joined us as well. Ready for GCSE Science?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mike, I once tried to teach Gabriel. Gabriel quit home learning after 4 minutes one day.
That's a record.
4 minutes. I was like, right, the whole day we're going to do, and he left. So let's see how long you can keep Layla engaged for, yeah? Time is going. Do you want me to switch to your screen, my friend?
Yeah, I'm ready to start whenever you are now.
Brilliant. Thank you so much once again for doing this, Michael. And what are we going to be focusing on today?
Today we're looking at different types of current.
Brilliant. That's to do with electricity levels.
Here we are.
All right, fantastic, Mike. The screen, it's all yours. And
thank you,
yeah,
sir.
Good luck. Thank you.
Nice one. So you may remember from our last physics lesson, we started to look at the term current. And, in our last physics lesson, we spoke about this word current meaning the flow of charge. And we're going to build on this idea of current in this lesson to actually look at two types of current. We have something called AC, and we also have something called DC. Now, AC stands for alternating current. And the reason we call it alternating current is because this type of current constantly changes direction. Okay? This is the type of current that's in our house. This is our mains electricity. And, the current in our house, it actually changes direction 50 times a second. So we would say that the mains electricity has a frequency of 50 hertz. And that's just because the current changes its direction 50 times in a second. Just for some added information, really, the potential difference of alternating current in mains electricity is 230 volts. And the second type of current that we have is direct current. And obviously that's where we get the DC from. And direct current only flows in one direction. So it doesn't alternate like AC. A typical source of DC current are things like batteries. Batteries produce a direct current, and also solar cells produce a direct current. But today's lesson, really, what we're going to do is we're going to focus primarily on AC, because AC current is generated by a generator, and it's the AC that actually flows in the mains electricity. So that's what leads us on to this next part, because how we connect our appliances to mains electricity is using a plug. And all I've got here is a diagram of a plug. If you was to unscrew the plastic casing of a plug, you would find that the structure would look something like this inside. You are expected to be able to label the key parts of this plug. We have here the cable. You see this across the cable. This is called the cable grip. The purpose of the cable grip is just to secure the cable, because if it's wobbly or moving around, it can become dangerous. The outer casing of the plug, so the outer casing, this would typically be made from plastic. The reason that we use plastic for the outer casing, or sometimes you can use rubber, the reason for that is that plastic and rubber, they're insulators and they don't conduct any electricity. So, you won't be harmed from touching this outer casing. But then when we look at the plug itself, we see these 3 wires. So these 3 wires would exist inside of this cable. And each wire has a different color of insulation. So for example, this wire here, the one with the blue insulation, is called the neutral wire. And the purpose of the neutral wire actually completes the circuit. So when we connect our plug to the mains, it's the neutral wire that actually completes that circuit. We also have a brown wire over here, and the brown wire is known as the live wire. And it's the live wire that takes the current to the appliance. So when we plug an appliance in, it's the live wire that brings the current to the appliance to make it work. And then remember, the neutral wire is what completes the circuit. Next to the live wire, we also have what's known as a fuse, and I'll talk a little bit later on about the role of a fuse. And then our final wire, this green and yellow striped wire here, this is called the earth wire. And again, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the importance of an earth wire shortly. So, for your GCSEs, you've got to know the different colours of wire. You should know why we use plastic as the outer casing. You should know the role of the cable grip. There's also one other thing that you need to know, and that is the material that the pins are made from. The pins are those 3 prongs that we actually plug into the plug socket. Now, the pins are typically made of a material called brass. And the reason that we use brass is that brass doesn't corrode, and it's also a good conductor. Are made from a material called copper. And the reason that we use copper in the wiring is that copper is a fantastic conductor. It's a very good conductor of electricity. So there we have the structure of a plug. We have all the different uses of these different wires. And we're going to take a closer look now at the role of an earth wire and the fuse. So I'm just going to skip over to my next slide here. And, as they say, here's one I prepared earlier. So here we've got an appliance, and it's an electric cooker. Okay. Now, this electric cooker, as you may notice, it has a metal case. Okay, so the whole electric cooker has a metal case, and you know there are many other there are many other metal cased appliances that you may have. You know, your toasters, kettles, washing machines, for example. The important thing here is that the casing is metal. Now, this can create a potential problem. And that problem is sometimes overuse and over time, the live wire can become loose. Now, the problem with this, okay, if the live wire becomes loose and just by chance the live wire touches that metal case, well, that's going to create a big problem because now the whole metal case is live. So this can cause the metal case to become live. Now, this is going to be a big problem if you then come and touch that metal case, because it's going to give you an electric shock, which could lead to death, electrocution. So this is a big problem for appliances that have a metal case. And this is why the earth wire is so important, because the earth wire is connected to the metal case. Now, this adds a layer of protection for us, because what happens is the charge, rather than staying on the metal case, will end up flowing through the earth wire. And the earth wire actually takes the charge to the ground. You know, typically under your house, you may have a metal plate or pipes where the charge is taken to. So rather than the whole appliance becoming live, that charge is taken to the ground, thus meaning that you can touch that metal case and you won't be shocked. So, you know, this whole idea of earthing, as it's commonly referred to, this whole idea of earthing is designed to protect us. Is to protect us as consumers, or protect us as the users. But let's look at a fuse, okay? Let's look at a fuse. Now, as you saw in the plug before, the fuse right here is connected to the live wire, okay? And the fuse looks something like this. Now, you'll notice that in the middle of the fuse right here, we have a very thin wire, okay? And what actually happens that if too much current flows through the fuse, okay, that can cause the fuse to melt. Or you may hear the term that the fuse has blown. Oops. The fuse has blown. And all that means is that too much current was flowing through this thin wire. The temperature's increased, and it's caused that thin wire to melt. Now, you know, if the thin wire melts, and this is where I can really see for those people who were listening last time, if the fuse melts, you can spot right here that there's now a break in the circuit. And for those of you that heard my last physics lesson, you should remember that for current to, you cannot have a break in the circuit. So when this fuse melts or when the fuse blows, you've got this break in the circuit, this gap in the circuit, so no more current can flow. And it actually turns off the appliance. The appliance will no longer work. Now, the difference with the fuse is how earthing or how the earth wire was used to protect us. The fuse actually protects the appliance. Because if too much current flows into an appliance, it can catch fire. So by the fuse melting or the fuse blowing, it's stopping the appliance from overheating and catching fire. So, you know, in your exam, you could be asked how earthing works. You could be asked to explain the process of how the earth wire works. And you could also be asked to explain the role of a fuse or to explain why a fuse is important to use in appliances. The question I've got for you, and I know there's another homework, but I'm going to give you a double portion this morning. The task I'm going to give you guys today, just have a think about. What if we had a plastic cased appliance?
Layla says it would melt, bro.
What's that, sorry?
Layla says it would melt.
I've not finished the question yet. Wait. Oh, so she's still logged in.
She's still here. Yeah, she's watching the whole thing.
That's what I'm. Yeah, that's what I mean.
You would believe it, actually, Mike, when you were talking about things exploding and blowing, she's actually gasping.
Yeah, see, I've won.
It's one of them. Never underestimate your kids, isn't it?
I've won. Now the question I've got for you, right? And this goes out to you, Layla. This goes out to you. If the appliance has a plastic case, do we still need the earth wire?
That's a tough one.
Do we still need the earth wire if the casing of the appliance is plastic and not metal? Think about particularly like hair dryers. Hair dryers have a plastic case. So would a hair dryer have an earth wire?
Definitely.
What was that, Layla?
Definitely.
Definitely no.
Definitely yes.
Oh, definitely yes.
Yeah.
Oh no. They do not. The reason that plastic cased appliances don't need the earth wire is because plastic is an insulator. So it doesn't conduct charge anyway. You only need an earth wire if the appliance has a metal case, because metal cases are good conductors. And there we go, guys.
See that level of interactivity? See that?
There you go.
Yeah, Layla's actually been enthralled. The mirror's sitting there going, can I go? Can I go? Can I go? Can I go? Thank you so much for that, Michael. Actually, Layla was riveted. Yes, you can both go if you want. And you both want to stay. Thank you so much, Michael. Really appreciate it. Say again?
Oh, there we go. Look, I've won.
Yeah, you won. Layla stayed for 20 minutes. That is
that. I'm happy
might be to do that. I'm a favourite person in the world as well. But, you know, you can take the credit for it if you want, Michael. You know, what can I say?
I'm a successful guy. That's all I needed. What more confirmation do you need?
Yeah, wonderful. What does the rest of the day have you doing, buddy?
I'm jam-packed today with online tuition. So as soon as I've come off here. I'm preparing for some A-level chemistry now.
Wonderful. I'll get Layla to join in on that one as well, yeah?
Definitely.
Thank you so much, Michael. Really, really appreciate it, buddy. Have a great day.
All right, take care, guys. Yeah, all the best.
Bye-bye.
You too.
All right, nice.
Yeah, I completely sold Layla down the river there, Nish. That doesn't need conducting. I was like, definitely. So Layla's like, all right, definitely. And Mike's like, no. I'm like, whoops. That is totally Daddy's fault.
Yeah.
Was it my fault, Laylu?
Are you still going live, Daddy?
We're still live, yeah.
What?
We're still live. So no, don't tell anyone about how cruel I am to you, because we're still live. But yeah, Nish, it's all yours. Please sign out.
All right, cool.
I don't know
So
what he's talking
here
about.
is the optional task for science. It was physics today. Explain the importance of a plug having a cable grip. As always, if you've missed out on any of the science sessions or any of the sessions that we have, you can find them on Facebook and on YouTube with all the resources and tasks as well. Next, we have Spanish.
Wonderful. And I'll see you in 18 minutes for some Spanish.
See you in a bit.
God bless you.